Hello, investigators, and welcome to a special Gen Con edition of the Neptune Society, our ongoing Call of Cthulhu 7th edition campaign that we run here on Stream of Blood. Stream of Blood is my streaming channel where I stream role-playing games to you. My name is Jared Logan. I am the game master, storyteller, dungeon master, keeper, impresario. Yes, I will use that term for myself. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And we want to thank Gen Con for making this part of their programming this year. It's cool that Gen Con got to happen, even though it's happening online this year. So let me let you know a little bit about what makes today's session special. We started with a prologue with the investigators you're about to see in the scenario, a really stellar cast. I'm really glad that we plucked for this particular scenario. And then we had Gen Con attendees in a scenario, a flashback to the Napoleonic Wars in the year 1815. And these were people that just signed up for the game through Gen Con. We had 6 players. They were fantastic. They were really, really, really great. And they solved the scenario, but some of the choices that they made affect the scenario you're about to see today. So they made decisions because of their actions in the scenario. Things happened. And now the mystery and the adventure that my all-star cast is going on today follows what they did in that adventure and is affected by it. So that said, I'm really excited. I hope you watched the previous 2 chapters. We'll have a brief recap once I get my cast in here, and then we'll begin. So let's go ahead and bring in this fantastic all-star cast. He's a fellow role player. I mean, this guy came to my bachelor party in New York City where we played a game of Werewolf the Forsaken. It was a 2-night bachelor party. That's not the only thing we did, but it was one of the things we did. We played a werewolf game at my bachelor party. So things got pretty hot and wild, as you can imagine. And he is just a fantastic writer, comedian. Read his book, My Life as a Goddess. Please welcome my dear friend, Mr. Guy Branum.
Hello, good to be here.
Thanks for coming back. And talk to us about Lady Hypatia Montague.
Lady Hypatia Montague is a very well-educated young lady of the aristocratic class in Britain. Her father was Lord Bartlett. Is that his name?
That's right, Lord Bartlett, yes.
I don't know why they have different last names. It's a complex situation.
It often happens. Ada Lovelace, for example, was also Ada King, and she was Lord Byron's daughter. So it gets complicated with the aristocracy.
Absolutely, but she was built by her grandmother to be a perfect bullet for Victorian feminism. And so she was very well educated and was taught to be very rational. But has become obsessed with her father's legacy and learning more about it.
And she will tonight. Thank you, Guy. I'm going to bring in our next player. This gentleman was the star, host, and creator of Adam Ruins Everything. He's also the host of a very fantasy role-playing themed game show for Nickelodeon, The Crystal Maze. And he's another dear friend and someone who participated in my 13th Age campaign for a little while when I was playing 13th Age from Pelgrane Press. Please welcome the hilarious and erudite Mr. Adam Conover, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, pal, how are you?
I'm doing well. I love that 13th Age game. I played like a lich, like a homunculus with no penis. It was
That's
really
right.
Great.
We always mentioned the fact that your character had no penis.
Yeah, it's really extremely first thought comedy, frankly. But yeah, I had a great time at that game. I love that game, but I love Call of Cthulhu even more. That's my favorite game that you
or important intersex inclusion.
Yes, thank you. Intersex inclusion.
That's our creative magical vessel people included in intersex or not. I don't know.
Well, the pluses at the end.
talk to us about the sex of your character today, Robert Potter. Talk to us a little bit about Robert Potter.
Robert Potter is a former servant to Lady Hypatia, or he from the servant class of her estate. They grew up together. He was a stable boy, I think we said, and he went into the military with an officer's commission that her family arranged for him. But he participated in the ill-fated, we learned last session, Charge of the Light Brigade, where he has basically Victorian PTSD. And
a nervous disorder.
A nervous disorder. So he fled the military, abandoning his commission and his ability to improve his station thereby. And so now he has returned to being her loyal footman, porter.
Yeah, we call it a bodyman, maybe like
bodyman. Yeah,
chaperone and kind of bodyguard.
Yes, exactly.
Great. Well, plenty of opportunities to protect Hypatia tonight if she can't protect herself. Let me bring in your third player. This guy, he is the host, creator of the Last Podcast Network and the Last Podcast on the Left. He's been seen in all kinds of TV and film. A guy that played Call of Cthulhu with me in New York many years ago and played a character that I think started out as insane. We just started him insane because he'd been like, a castaway on a deserted island or something. I really love playing games with this guy. Please welcome the amazing Mr. Henry Zebrowski, everybody. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some flourish, some panache there.
Some showmanship.
Yeah.
No, I remember that that Call of Cthulhu campaign was because I had a SAN of 10 at the very top when we rolled for all the qualities, because the idea was that I was a anthropologist that had been living on this island for a long time. But then the problem was that Jared does a good idea of giving you little tokens to do MacGuffins or whatever if you do good role playing, if you stick to character. So my character would just ruin every situation that we were in by running in first. Like, it did a lot of Leroy Jenkins activity but in role play, which was fun to trigger all the traps.
My favorite type of player, actually, because as the game master, you want all the traps to happen and all the monsters to, kill people and stuff.
And we didn't do a good job of that last round. In the last session of this, we almost got poisoned by a spooky mist a couple times, and I had a bad dream. But apart from that, nothing that bad really happened to us because we played so cautiously.
Well, I think I almost got killed by a cannon immediately.
That's
You
true.
almost got killed by a cannon.
You guys kind of like, in a very practical and smart way, skipped around some of the adventure, but that's okay because it was a prologue, right? And I think that you definitely kind of broke the surface of the weirdness that was going on. By way of a quick recap, Lady Hypatia received a letter from the Netherlands saying that a humble farmer there named Horta had papers that once belonged to her poet father, Lord Bartlett, and would she be willing to buy these from him? So Lady Hypatia headed to the continent with her loyal bodyman, Robert Potter, and Walton Weatherall, who is a friend of the family, who is good at making deals. Because Walton Weatherall, we skipped your character, Henry. Tell us a little bit about Walton really quickly.
Walton Weatherall is a showman, historian, and sometimes restaurateur. I'd almost get to that point where he has his fingers in many, many pots. Walton Weatherall's sort of like constantly trying to catch up to P.T. Barnum, but he thinks that P.T. Barnum might have too much class.
Yeah.
I think P.T. Barnum is a little pretentious.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like one of our big failures last campaign was Walton not discovering the French fry while in Belgium. I feel like that was a moment that was supposed to happen.
I should have brought that back. That is technology I should have stole. Proprietary.
Well, look, Guy, that's such a good idea. It's now canon, and it sort of happened off screen at some point. It happened out of game at some point. And Walton, you're definitely able to bring in French fries as an item you have, if you'd like, or a recipe that you have.
Let me try these new French fried. Yeah.
Regardless, just to kind of cut to the chase and get into today's adventure, you guys thought that the man that owned the farm, Horta, was quite creepy, he very quickly, with almost no haggling, agreed to sell you the diary of Lord Bartlett and his entire farm. And you notice that strange things were happening at the farm. As Henry mentioned, a cannon fired of its own volition, almost taking off his head. And a nearby farm had 2 corpses in it that had seemingly been drained of all their life force and life fluids. Robert Potter experienced strange dreams. And at the very end, the man Horta, you went back to the farm with 2 bodyguards. You guys were playing it so cautious, and I loved it. You went back with 2 bodyguards. And when you heard Horta talking to someone inside the windmill, you sent the guards in. There was gunfire. And when you came around the corner, you saw that Horta had been shot. And he was dying. And he said that he had completed his quest. He had brought the blood. And that's when Robert Potter did a first aid. And I said, try it. And he succeeded. And I said, it's too late. Horta is dead.
Some things are past first aid. So I mean, it's just first aid. It's not. I'm not a doctor.
You got an extra line out of Horta.
Yeah.
But now I am going to begin tonight's adventure with this invitation. It is a year later, and people all over the fashionable parts of England receive an invitation that says, Lady Ellen Bartlett and Lord Graham Grayson Bartlett, parentheses, deceased, request the pleasure of your company at a debutante party, honoring their daughter, Hypatia Montague, at Montague House, 15th of June, 1856. Ladies and gentlemen, the party you're about to see may seem like a simple party, a simple attempt to grab a husband for this debutante, but what you are actually about to view is the Battle of Neptune.
No,
I didn't know if I was.
Okay. It's the Neptune Society. That's why. Okay, never mind. Okay,
Yeah,
guys, I want to start with Hypatia. Hypatia, this is your debutante ball. I know that you're a little old for it. This is your second one. The first one.
I'm 19 goddamn years old. Like,
yes.
You want me to be introduced at 15 like a hussy?
I know.
Yes, my first season was last year. Let's be fair. This is my second season. I didn't go the first time, but you
went around Europe. You looked for a more continental husband who would be open to your intellect, right?
Yes. I was looking. Go ahead.
Oh, unfortunately, you were unable to find one. It seems that a dark cloud has followed you since you witnessed the death of that strange Dutchman at Waterloo.
Well, I've been obsessively studying my father's papers. And yes, there are poems in there, but there are things that I haven't been able to read. I've been at the British Library constantly, but if the British Library existed then, but haven't been able to suss it out. But I've been avoiding snacking so that my waist can be cinched better.
It did exist. You have been studying those papers. We'll get into that in a moment, but in this very moment, it is your second debut, a crucial moment, and you are being led down the grand staircase into the hall of Montague House by your loyal servant and bodyman, Robert Potter. Ah, loyal Robert. He is everything a servant should be and nothing more. And what are Lady Hypatia and Robert whispering to each other as they descend the staircase to this crowd of people waiting for Hypatia's debut?
To the grand ball?
Yes.
I'm not talking to Potter. I am intoning. With both his hands he labors at the knots. His holy fillets the blue venom blots. His roaring fills the fitting air around. Thus when an ox receives a glancing wound, he breaks his bands. The fatal altar flies, and with loud bellowings breaks the yielding skies. And then I gesture, and a curtain comes up, and it's the Laocoon statue that we brought back from Belgium. And everybody goes, oh!
Yes.
Robert applauds. Very good, Lady Hypatia.
Yeah, you brought back a statue of Laocoon, a Trojan priest of antiquity being ripped apart from the Troy legend, being ripped apart by serpents. People give you a smattering of the applause. The crowd is shocked by the horrifying depiction, but the fact that the sculpture is at least very old means that it is tasteful. You notice the American Walton Weatherall in the crowd. Now, you hope that he will show some discretion because you know that Americans can be quite coarse. What is Walton currently saying in the crowd?
Yeah! Woo! Woo! Great speech. This is a nice party. Thank you for inviting me. I know her. I know her very well.
Perfect. As you descend the staircase, Lady Hypatia, the first person you come upon is your mother, the Lady Ellen Bartlett, who you've only seen in person a handful of times the last couple of years. And she looks to you and says, whispers out of the corner of her mouth, "Remember, Hypatia, you need to make an impression on the 3 eligible bachelors here. Their names are Kane Hardwood, Augustus Farrell, and Everett Mobb." And she even points them out to you, and you can see them in the crowd. And now I have prepared, something like 20 guests that are ambling around this party. And the 3 of you may go and speak to them in any order or that you'd like. And just sort of talk to anybody. Lady Ellen Bartlett is there. And I can tell you about these 3 eligible bachelors if you'd like, Hypatia. We can also take a brief moment. You said that let's do this now. You said that you studied your father's papers.
Mm-hmm.
And you made a in-depth study of them, right? You bought his diary from the Dutchman Horta. Very good. Then I am going to make you make some rolls. You did a full study.
Mm-hmm.
You may roll your read English. They are just in English.
All right. And I made it.
Very good. Of course you did. That's a pretty high skill for everybody. And you did your full study of 2 weeks, and you get +3 percentiles of occult. And I'm going to tell you why. When you started reading this many months ago, you noticed that at first it was the travel log of Bartlett, your father, and his faithful personal physician, Dr. James Winston Palladino. They were very, very close. So close. Over and over, Bartlett says he depends on Palladino. Dear, dear Palladino. And they were visiting the famed occult sites of Europe. That's why you get +3% to your occult. Everything changes on the entry on June 19th, 1815, the day after the Battle of Waterloo. Bartlett tells how he joined a party that were rushing to a farm in the Netherlands to stop a plot to sabotage the British army during the Battle of Waterloo. He says that they stopped the plot by cleverly rerouting the French army from attacking the farmhouse. But he also relates that an illuminated manuscript was found in the farmhouse called The Revelations of the Dragon, and that after translating it with his dear friend Palladino, he became paranoid that a dragon or serpent was going to follow him back to England. The rest of his entries after that are all about this dragon, how it has tasted his blood, and once more, it will stop at nothing until it consumes his blood again. Bartlett eventually forms a bibliophobia, fear of books, and can no longer write. After this, his journal begins to be filled with nonsense, indecipherable script written in a strange circular pattern all over the page. Lady Hypatia, did you try to decipher this strange circular script?
Absolutely. I went to Oxford. I went to Cambridge. I talked to all of the professors of dead languages.
This is why you have not been able to find a husband. You have been burning the midnight oil trying to translate your father's diary. Give me a hard intelligence roll. That little number on the right beside intelligence, that's the higher of the two, the top one.
I did not make it.
Lady Hypatia, would you like to push the roll? Push the roll.
I would, yes.
Okay, so you're going to roll again, and if you succeed, you succeed. But if you fail, something horrible happens.
Oh, but I made it.
Lady Hypatia, you spent many nights in Oxford and at Cambridge. You were turned out of the rooms of Oxford. A woman doesn't belong here. And you have horribly damaged yourself on the social scene in your quest to translate your father's notes. That is why you've only got 3 eligible bachelors here, and they look like slim pickings.
Would you like to know how I pushed?
I would like to know.
Went to Oxford, they were like, you can't be here, you're a woman. Dressed up like a boy, and since I'm a little like thicker built, nobody really noticed and was able to get by in Cambridge.
Excellent. And perhaps you've retained some of your boyish affectation that you were using to kind of sell the role, and you can throw that in there if you'd like. Regardless, you gain plus 3% Cthulhu mythos.
Oh.
And I want you to tell me, do you believe what is in your father's diary? Do you believe at this point that he contacted some sort of snake or dragon-like entity?
No, but I'm obsessed with it because it stopped him from writing, and that was my father's greatness, and I fear that it destroyed him.
Very good. In that case, I will simply say that you have figured out that the weird circular writing is some sort of chant. And you think that if you intone this chant, you will. Your father thought intoning this chant would allow you to speak to the dragon or speak to the serpent.
Okay.
And you were thinking of all these things as you look out over your party and you look at the Leokun statue. The serpent on the statue brings you in mind of these things. And now I will ask you, who are you going to speak to first, Lady Hypatia?
I would never just walk up to a man and talk to him. I'm a fucking lady. So I'm going to chit chat with the elderly avuncular Weatherell to indicate that I am unusual and to deal with Americans and people in trade, so that I will be approached by the most liberal thinking of the young men.
Oh, very good. Yes, so you two may speak. Robert Potter, while they are speaking, what are you going to do, or who are you going to talk to?
I'd like to eyeball the 3 men and just try to get a view of them, not surreptitiously, not sneakily, but in my position. I imagine that I'm Robert Potter is sort of he's well dressed for a function. He's not like fulfilling like a servant role, but he's like clearly at Lady Hypatia's side. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so he's just sort of casing the joint and trying to get a view of who these 3 guys are, and we'll probably then choose one of them to strike up a conversation with.
Very good. What I would like for you to do is roll psychology. And you're going to get a bead on these prospective suitors.
I failed psychology.
What is your psychology roll? Your
88
rating.
against 40.
Oh, 40, and you failed it. Okay. Well, then, I can tell you only what they look like. Kane Hardwood is a slim and handsome man in fine clothes with a big black mustache and a shock of black hair. Augustus Farrell is a tall and somewhat doughy man who is currently making a bunch of people laugh with his wit and repartee. And Everett Mobb seems a bit more rustic in his dress and apparel. He's not quite as well kempt as the others, but you know that he is a man of a landed gentry. He is a man with a lot of land and a lot of sheep and a lot of economic might. So those are the 3 prospective suitors that Lady Ellen has pointed out. And as a member of the household, you certainly have been privy to some of these conversations when you were standing nearby. Let's see what Lady Hypatia and Walton are saying on a little bit away.
I see you did supply a little corner of my tube meats that I had shipped to you specially.
Of course, this being a progressive household, we always want to excite and a little bit shock. our guests with our broad thinking minds and capacity to integrate the newer sciences into our gustatory endeavors. We thank you so much, Mr. Weatherell.
I am simply pleased to be included in the celebration. This is absolutely wonderful. This is quite a pile of bricks you got here.
How are affairs on your continent?
It is tense. It seems to be tense. And I did try to make a facsimile cannon in order to have sort of people come take pictures next to it, and a lot of people felt that it was in poor taste, and they attacked the structure that the cannon was inside of. This was one of my more fairly rural like avenues where because I do little pop-up sort of like showman areas. They just ripped it to shreds. A whole group of people just came together and tore the whole building down, ripped the cannon apart, and honestly, it was a total failure. But otherwise,
well, your country is mostly composed of people who were too savage to survive in Europe. Like you've had a lot. Like I imagine that happens pretty frequently.
We just get real excited real fast. And
Another
everyone
guest
is
walks
covered
up.
in gunpowder.
Another guest walks up, and you recognize he is a member of the band Hypatia. Not band, the orchestra that you've hired to play. He is a violin player, and he is a fellow American, Walton. You recognize him from an adventure you had with him in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh.
And he says, well, how do you do, Mr. Weatherall? Do you remember me, Mr. Orlando Robichaux?
Yes, I do. It's wonderful to see you again, old friend.
I am so sorry to interrupt, but do you know where I might find any cocaine? I am feeling quite fatigued for some reason, quite innovated.
I actually do. I have some here in my medicine packet. Because, yes, are you feeling... Because I also take it for nerves as well.
Yes, well, something very strange has happened since I arrived at this gig. I have not been sampling pleasures as hard as I used to, and still I find myself quite innovated in these environs. Yes, thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, have some Rooty Toot. Get it going. I know it takes what it takes to play music, what it takes to get the soul free.
My physician is here. If you need laudanum, opium, cocaine, any other medications, just let us know.
Oh, thank you, milady. Sorry to have interrupted.
Where is the band sitting? Where's the orchestra sitting?
They are, if you want to go under the grand staircase, go through the corridor and into the ballroom where they are setting up and beginning to play.
I'm not going to pass through at my own fucking debutante ball before everybody else passes through. My mom will tell us when to pass through.
Right. No, absolutely. Yes.
Can I ask one question?
You may.
It's a two-part question.
Please.
Are any of these boys titled? And also, did my father have one of the ancient baronies of England which can pass to a girl? In which case, I must understand that they are probably hunting after my barony.
Your father had one of the ancient baronies of England which can pass to a girl.
Okay.
And the other detail that you should know is that if you may make a credit rating roll to know these gentlemen and their financial stati.
I mean, financial is fine. I want to know whether they have titles.
Right. I think credit rating would do that as well.
All right. Where is credit rating?
It is on your sheet. Yes.
I make it.
Very good. Okay. Your credit rating lets you know that Kane Hardwood is a titled gentleman. He is a lord. Augustus Farrell is also a titled gentleman. Everett Mobb is just a very wealthy farmer.
Okay. I'm gonna glance at Hardwood.
Very good. When you glance at Hardwood, he glances back at you, and he approaches. He approaches.
Combat begins.
Yes.
Roll initiative.
He approaches and he goes, "You look ravishing, my dear."
Robert goes and hovers nearby to observe this conversation.
Can I go hang out with the band? If you're going to flirt, I'm going to go hang out with the band.
I'm going to blush and introduce him to Mr. Weatherell and Captain Robert Potter.
Do I kiss? Is this one of those situations? Do I kiss the other
do
man?
Not kiss me, sir.
Oh.
please.
Former Captain Robert Potter.
I do love Americans, don't you? Going to hang out with the band. How fun and frivolous. Oh, excuse me.
Thank you.
Oh dear. Hypatia, forgive me. I'm a little short of breath. Your vision has left me breathless. Oh.
I'm gonna gently giggle, but I need more than that.
So, how was your tour of Europe last summer?
Striking, indeed. Now I get animated and say that, in fact, these two gentlemen were my companions on the trip. And we went to a dark and low place in the new country of Belgium and found this fine piece of ancient art with the queerest farmer being in possession of it. Potter, do tell him, I'm sorry, Captain Potter.
Former Captain Potter. I'm not a captain anymore.
I mean, it's the rank that you have. It's the reason we let you sit at the table. Sure, fine. Potter.
I was dishonorably discharged, but I don't say that right now. I'm just like,
we don't talk about that. We paid for the lieutenancy that you turned into a captaincy. So, Potter, tell him about
the queer farmer. Lady Hypatia, I don't know if it's right in polite company to discuss such grisly matters.
Weatherell, you're an American. You do it.
Oh, you wouldn't believe he was super creepy. This guy, he was. I'm going to say the word I'd use is jacked up and haunting.
I detest new countries, new nations.
Don't go to this one. This is one of the worst of the new countries. I'm with you. This is one of the worst. Either. It was not good. The food was terrible. The chocolates were incredible.
Potter, you said you were keeping a close eye on everybody. You now may roll psychology one more time on this guy if you'd like.
Okay, great.
And Walton Weatherall, you can roll your credit rating on this guy.
I had an extreme success. 7 against 40.
An extreme success. This man is sort of acting very high class and very above everything, but you kind of get the sense that he's kind of putting on a show. He's pretending to be someone he's not. And Walton, how did you do on your credit rating?
I make it. I pass.
Walton, you know that you have personally seen this guy in gambling halls and at the racetrack. There are racetracks in England during this time. So you have seen him and you know that he likes to drink and play the ponies.
Lady Hypatia, I'm not going to go as far as to tell you whom to speak to, but I do hope that you understand. I'm pulling her to the side, like as she goes, and she's maybe speaking in a sort
Robert
of like.
Was also about to pull her to the side, but Walton pulls her away before he can pull her, and he's left there just chatting with him here.
Oh, well, here's what happens as Walton pulls Lady Hypatia away. Mr. Hardwood approaches Robert Potter and goes, I see the way you look at her, Potter. I would be on my guard. By this time next year, I will be the lord of this manor, and I will not keep a leering pervert in my employ.
He's into me.
I say, I slightly flinch, but keep my face of solemn dignity, and I say, well, I'm afraid that will be up to Lady Hypatia, who is the lord of this manor, sir. And now I would ask you to please give the lady and myself some distance and enjoy the tubed meats.
Do you think that Robert Potter and you can say yes or no, both answers are fine. Do you think he would have been upset by this interaction at all?
I think he would be offended by it. Not so much upset. I mean, his feelings for Lady Hypatia he keeps very close to his vest, so he would not expose anything like that. He's
regardless if he is offended, he is going to make a power roll right now.
Okay. Wait, what's power roll? Sorry.
Power is one of your attributes, and it is up in the top there. It
I would
deals
also
with
say
your willpower.
I would also say I was attempting to intimidate him.
Oh, very good. You may also roll your intimidate. What is your intimidate skill?
50 and my power is 45.
Please roll your intimidate skill first, and then roll your power.
Okay. I have extreme success on intimidate, 8 against 50, and power. I also succeed.
Okay. How much do you succeed by, sir?
On power, I had a 30 against 45.
Okay, very good. Here is what happens. You have a steel in your gaze. You've seen shit, man. When you very politely advise him that Lady Hypatia will decide who the Lord of the Manor will be, there is experience in your voice. But the thing that takes you by surprise, Robert Potter, is that you suddenly realize that you have Kane Hardwood by his coat. You didn't even remember deciding to do that or moving your hand toward him. Like it's almost as if your hand moved of its own volition, and you've got him like right up against your face. And he says, "Unhand me, sir." Straightens his jacket, and you can see he's quite afraid of you. And so now he starts to waddle away.
I quickly adjust my jacket and, hope we have not made too much of a scene. And I turn smartly on my heel and walk to go talk to some of the serving women about a very important matter. Move those forks over there. Those forks are in the wrong order.
Oh, very good. I want to talk to you about you talking to the serving women in a moment, but I want to see where Lady Hypatia and Walton are off to now. Walton, you were going to tell Lady Hypatia to stay away from Kane Hardwood, right?
My dear Lady Hypatia, I just want to say this man is not real money. Anyone who deigns to be in the same company as Mr. WW himself, I've hung out with this guy. I don't think you should be partying with anybody who hangs out with me.
Dear Mr. Weatherall, your ways are charming, but I don't know that you necessarily understand the breeding practices of the British gentry. Mr. Hardwood may not have money. I've got money. What he's got is a title that goes back to the Norman invasion. And I have to be answering questions, not just for myself, but for 3-5 generations on down the line. What do you know about the other two, though?
Nothing as of yet, but I can make a credit roll. I can make a roll to see if I can see the other men and see if I recognize them just within my own sphere of international salespeople.
I mean, now that you say it, I don't want this guy going and mortgaging my house, where I keep all of my books. Yeah, see if if you could inquire and figure out if the other two seem legit, that would be cool.
That is very easy for me.
Walton Weatherall, you head off into the party to find these other suitors. I'm going to go back to Robert Potter for a moment. Lady Hypatia, you can think about your next move. Who would she talk to? How would she how would she handle the party? But Robert Potter, you are talking to the serving women, and there is one woman who is helping to prepare all of the food, and her name is Terry O'Berry, and she is shaking a knife at you and going, I mean, do we cut the tube meat, or are people supposed to just gnaw on it? It's unclear, sir. It's very unclear.
Well, these new fashions from the Americas are often surprising and disconcerting. I think set out some utensils and people will eat it as they may.
Well, then I'm going to start it, right, and then let them chop the rest. I don't really know what to do. I'll get it started. And she's
Terry,
kind of
Terry, the food is your department. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
And you see that she's cut herself. Oh, she says, "Look what you've made me do. I've been a maid and a cook for 30 years, and I've never." And you see that the blood drips down off of her hand onto the floor.
Okay. What does it do? Something when it hits the floor?
Well, I don't know. Why don't you give me a spot hidden roll?
Okay, and I'm gonna hustle her. I will make the spot hidden roll, but my reaction is to quickly hustle her to the kitchen to give her first aid.
Very good. Yes, that's great. So start with the first aid and then give me the spot hidden.
Okay. So, and are we in the kitchen now?
You are. The kitchen is on the east side of the house, past the dining room. You're back into the kitchen and the scullery.
So there's I love a good scullery. So there's a first aid kit in the kitchen. You know, there's some bandages and things like that, and I bandage up her hand quickly. So I'll start with the first aid, which I pass fine, 38 against 70.
Very good. Nicely done. 38 against 70 heals 1 HP for her, which is probably all that she lost. But as you are bandaging her hand and dealing with this injury, would you please give me the spot hidden roll I mentioned?
I pass.
Oh, very nicely done. Sir, you notice something strange.
Not
The blood-
strange.
Yes. The blood hits the floor, and then it sort of moves along the floor and out the door of the kitchen like in little beads. It kind of rolls in a way that you've never seen liquid behave before. Please make a sanity roll, and if you miss it, you're going to go completely insane. No, you're not. But
We
it
don't
is
regain
strange enough.
insanity from last time, right? We have the same.
No, it's been a tough year.
I was down to 63, and I'm rolling against 63.
Sounds good. That's
But we
perfect.
do regain magic from last time. I just want to make sure I have that.
You
right.
do. Your magic points should be back to full.
Okay, I had 9. Oh, full. Oh, full. I think you said 4. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I pass.
Very good. You take no sanity loss from that, of course, but it is odd. Walton Weatherall, you are moving about the party. Would you like to talk to Augustus Farrell, the witty, doughy man who's telling jokes, or would you like to talk to the farmer, Everett Mobb?
I know much trust. I always would rather talk to a farmer than a tall, doughy, witty man. Hey, I will talk to the farmer.
So you are talking to the farmer.
Yes, yes. So, what is it that you grow?
Sheep. Know everything about sheep. How to bathe them, how to shear them without nicking them. That's difficult.
you look
Herding
at it-
them is the hardest.
I can imagine. But when you
Yes.
look at a group of sheep, like after you've spent time with them and stuff, can you tell the difference between the personalities of certain sheeps? Like, can you know?
Yes.
Like, do you know? Like,
Good
one you're
question.
Closer to.
Yes, good question, and yes. Most sheep are, you'd be surprised, they're quite stupid. And they'll easily panic and harm each other if they're not careful. All it takes is, a little blood, and they all go nuts.
They just go nuts.
They stampede.
Wow.
Do you think that this man Farrell is a rival to my affections tonight? You're a friend of the family, yes?
Yes, I am a friend of the family, and I do take Lady Hypatia's interests as seriously as I take my own.
Yes. Well,
So
have
yeah,
you
I mean,
ever-
he
have
does
you
seem
ever-
to be a man that's very entertaining. He seems to have attracted the crowd. So
and you do see Augustus Farrell making people break out into peals of laughter again, and he goes, "Have you ever wrestled him?"
physically wrestled him.
Yes, he's invited me on several occasions to wrestle him. I have not had the honor, but I feel that I would best him, for although he does have height on me, I am the fitter man.
Oh, I can see that. You're thicker. You're more rotund. You obviously have
Country living.
country living. It's a harder strap life.
Mr.
So
Weatherall,
absolutely
perhaps you
best
would
him.
mention to Lady Hypatia my fitness. I mean, coming from me, it would be a boast, but
Can I feel his arm?
absolutely.
So like, Can I see how?
Very fit, but how sometimes people are very fit and it's still not appealing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Yes.
Yeah.
just like it's like a great physique, but it's just it's not. You don't like it.
Yeah. You do feel strong. I'm not saying you don't. You do feel strong. This is. Yes, I will tell her how fit I think that you are. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. He's a barrel with thick ropes in his arms. You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, you're stacked. You build like a Clydesdale, which is, to be honest, I think that's your best attribute. And honestly, if I were to speak with Lady Hypatia on your honor, yes, you're right. I would mention, obviously, he's built like a Clydesdale, and that makes sure you probably live for a very long time, or for
I
a very short
appreciate it,
time.
sir.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Can
And
I do a
count on
credit-
you as a friend?
Can I do a credit rating? Like, am I just investigating? Because it seems.
Yeah,
to be...
you certainly can. You certainly can. Do a credit rating on him.
I got it. Strong success.
Very good. So I think that you're kind of sounding him out, and you're talking to him about business, right? That's your line.
Yes,
businesses.
Businesses.
And when you talk to him about business, he reveals that he is a very, very wealthy farmer, but he does not have, really titles. He's not part of the old aristocracy. He goes a step further. He goes ahead and tells you that he happens to know that Cain Hardwood is a wastrel who has frittered away most of his inheritance. And furthermore, Walton, Cain Hardwood has not been to church in 2 years.
Disgusting. Disgusting. Where is there a local church?
Yes, of course, yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's absolutely.
Of course, I prefer a simple country church.
Oh, well, what church do you belong to? What is your denomination? I don't know if that how rude that is. We do speak about it a little bit more freely.
The Church of England, sir. And he moves away, offended at the question.
Oh, there goes another one.
Do you take him for a Catholic?
Presbyterians at my party.
Well, I'll just go and speak. I want to go hover by the fun guy. I want to go talk to the fun guy. Yeah.
And so you move to do that, and now I must ask Lady Hypatia who she is talking to or who she has contacted.
I have gone over to the elderly Duke of Devonshire to discuss the coal-powered banana greenhouse that he recently built. He built it a while ago, but I just wanted to know how the advancements were going with the bananas. And then, but I glance at Mob. I raise my fan and I look at Mob to see if he wants to come say hi.
Well, two things happen. One is that while you're discussing, improvements to a greenhouse, you see that the Duke of Devonshire is discussing things with an engineer named Johnson Vell Reginald, and he asks you a couple questions about the house. And you can kind of wonder why he's asking these questions. And Lady Hypatia, I would like for you to make some sort of science roll. I think physics would be appropriate.
Wonderful. Where is okay? I do not make it. Can I push?
How are you pushing in this particular case? You sense that he's trying to kind of talk over your head, as men often try to do in this era. Maybe not intentionally, but you must tell me how you are more direct or more desperate in your attempt.
Basically, I think that I was distracted by the fact that I was at a party and wasn't just in my zone for talking about physics. So I go over to one of the housemaids that's attending to the food, and I ask her to undo my corset a little bit. And I just sort of chill out, stop putting on party pretenses. And I'm just sorry, I'm a little drunk. Could you say that again?
Very good. Then you may roll again, please.
Right. Oh, I make it.
He's actually referring, the reason he keeps talking about building materials of old Montague House is that he's embarrassed to say he didn't want to actually bring it up to you because it might be offensive, but he's a little worried about the load-bearing structures in this house. And he points out high above you, the ceiling of the grand hall, there is a hairline crack visible. And Hypatia, you are quite certain, living in this house a long time, you have never seen it before.
I mean, it's very sturdy. It's good old stone from the quarry, but let's be fair. The original portions of the house were built before we had Arabic numerals, Mm-hmm. A lot of the math that they were doing was just X's and I's.
Everett Mob has appeared in front of you.
Oh.
Lady Hypatia, I appreciate being invited to the party. It's an honor. You have a very nice house, and I like the food that you have served.
I would ask after the welfare and well-being of his sheep, and ask how the food
yes, the sheep. Well, therein lies a tale. Lady Hypatia, this year's lambing was epic. And then he starts to tell you a long anecdote about helping sheep give birth, and it is extremely graphic and inappropriate.
Can I figure out whether he hunts and fishes?
I think that you can, and I think that as you, the player, have ascertained, he probably does.
And then last question, does he seem interesting at all? Like, does he have any interests that are compelling to me? Because I want to be clear, whatever nether thing is going to attack us, I'm a little worried about that. But what I want right now is to find the best long-term strategy for Lady Hypatia and the Montague family.
He's interested in the natural world.
Okay.
And that is at least, connected to the sciences.
All right.
Although his knowledge is more lore-based, right? Hunting lore, fishing lore, fishing lures.
Has he been doing anything to breed better sheep?
Oh, lots of things.
Right.
Oh, yes.
All right, I'm in.
Excellent. I'm going to check in with Robert Potter. Robert, who are you talking to, or what are you up to now?
I just need to follow up with the maid, with Terry O'Barry. Was her name?
Yes, Terry O'Barry.
Terry, has anything odd befallen you recently?
Odd, sir?
Has anything happened out of the ordinary?
Not really. I mean, I told the mistress that, there was a weird beggar begging for scraps outside earlier this evening, that we should probably keep an eye out for him.
Was there anything strange about that beggar?
Seemed to be of a body was broken in some ways, sir. The crippled sort. He was missing a few fingers.
Okay. Well, I think it's best if you take the rest of the night off.
I'm not missing a couple fingers.
Yeah, very good. Very good, Terry. We love your humor. Okay, to bed with you.
And off she heads.
And then I want to... Which direction did the blood crawl away in?
It crawled to the west.
To the west. Like, okay, can I just
You're on the east side of the house, and you saw it roll out into the hallway and then kind of slither.
Okay, I want to follow the blood.
I love it. What skill are you going to use to do that?
Oh, shit. Navigate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
I think that sounds right. You're dealing with direction. You're dealing with paths.
Yeah.
Yes. That sounds
survival in the forest is another one that I would have, but
you have a navigate skill of what?
40.
You may use it to see if you can kind of see where this blood has gotten off to.
I fail.
Do you have a high track?
Track. No, I don't have a high track. No, I don't. I have a track of 10. No, that's nothing. What did you ask? Should I push it? Is that what you said?
Only if you'd like. Only if you'd like. How much did you miss by?
I missed by quite a bit. I had 80 something, and it was a 40.
Okay, then I'm afraid you can't use luck. So if you'd like to, you could push. It means that Robert has begun making a scene a little bit. He's kind of like, walking down the corridor and looking very closely at the ground and telling people to get out of his way. But if you'd like to try that.
Yes, that's what Robert is doing. He saw some blood run away, and so he's a little bit preoccupied with that.
Then you may roll again.
I fail once again.
That means something bad happens.
Oh no, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, that means that something bad happens. And so what I am going to rule is I need a little time to think about it. Let's see. I think that yes, this is it. You bump into two gentlemen who are talking in the corridor, and one of them drops something, and it spins and kind of is about to land on top of you, and it is dangerous if it does. I'm not going to tell you what it is at the moment, but I need you to roll a dodge.
Dodge. Okay. I don't have a great dodge. I make it!
Oh, you do. A knife is now sticking out of the floor right near where you were searching. And the person had a knife and dropped it when you bumped into them, and it almost kind of landed in your scalp.
Okay, as bodyguard, as bodyman, no one should be bringing knives to this fancy ball. So I accost this person,
Yes.
or I put my hand on their elbow.
Yes, of course you do. And listen, the person you're looking at, you are familiar with. The two gentlemen are Van Dornen and Von Beck, the Dutch mercenaries you hired as bodyguards in Belgium, who are still with you.
Okay, these are our men.
They're your
Okay.
men, yes.
Okay, so I tell which one do I have?
You
by the
have
elbow.
both of them. They were sitting there talking, keeping an eye on the
Wh-
corridor.
Which one had the knife?
Oh, Van Dornen.
Okay, I retrieve Van Dornen's knife and I hand it back to him and I say, "Be more careful with your weaponry, sir."
I am, sir. But what? Yes, sir. Sorry.
But what?
Well, did you see the way it spun, sir? It was the queerest thing. And he puts it back in his pocket.
Okay.
A million to one shot, sir.
Be more careful in the future. And I guess I go back to find Lady Hypatia. I've lost the trail of the blood, right?
You have, I'm afraid.
So
Walton
I go back
Weatherall,
to-
what are you up to, my friend?
Well, now I'm in the circle. I'm insinuating myself into the circle of people around Farrell who are laughing and enjoying themselves. And so I don't know if I'm here mid-joke
Yes.
or not.
Yes, you actually, he's done with jokes and he is now involved in a quite pretentious conversation about Bovary. Have you heard the controversy over Bovary in Paris right now? If you ask me, there are no good books or bad books. There are certainly books that are poorly written, but there are no bad books.
Certain books, no matter what their content, should exist, no matter what anybody has to say about them in criticism. They should be allowed to live as simply independent pieces of intelligence.
Yes, thank you for saying so. See, our American cousins have a much more liberal view of this. Americans would never ban or burn books.
Never.
Americans are the most open-minded people on earth.
Freedom of discussion, freedom of most of the people. America has got it's got good bones. It's got good bones.
Good bone.
Freedom to go on a stroll or
If you want to, you
the
can
freedom matter.
freedom to start your own cult of isolationists and create a structure where you have called yourself a prophet and you've married a group of 13-year-old girls that you're
Yes.
used to propagate your brand new American religion deep into the desert.
People love in all sorts of ways, and who are we well, I might judge that. But, I mean, there are lesser extremes that I think that we must be more tolerant of.
Oh, I'm very erudite. Walton Weatherall. I'm impresario, showman, museum owner, restaurateur.
Augustus Farrell, wit.
That's fascinating.
I would call myself a writer, but I dislike quills and ink.
So it's all up here.
I generally dictate, yes.
That is so. Is there a lot of not to be? I mean, I'm an American, so that I don't understand your European ways. Is there a lot of money in being funny?
Money. You've brought up money. How quaint. Suffice to say that
I'm a simple businessman from
suffice to
America.
say- yes, I understand that you are simple. Suffice to say that my continued existence does not depend on exchanging dirty pieces of paper. I have friends that do that for me.
Ah, very good, very good. I wish I had those friends as well. Can I do a credit rating on him as we're sitting here?
You may.
I don't pass it.
Very good. He appears to be who he says, and you know nothing about his personal or financial reputation.
He's just a total.
Society.
He's a total waste of time. Is this person? I would probably go as far as to say he's a total waste of time.
I think that's great. I certainly tried to make him a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah. So I would just feel like, well, this has been absolutely fascinating. I just would love to go check in with my friend. I would love to check in Orlando with the band.
You'd love to, but when you turn around, Kane Hardwood is standing there.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hardwood. So I believe we had a brief introduction earlier. Walton Weatherall,
Mr. Weatherall.
Yes.
Were you besmirching my honor to Lady Hypatia, sir?
I was merely speaking freely as an associate and a beloved associate of Lady.
I believe that someone overheard you telling her to avoid me, sir.
I would say I offered independent consultation simply as a man who, I mean, let's be honest, my friend. We partake of the same atmospheres, don't we?
Does Robert notice this exchange?
Oh, Robert, yeah, you can hear this exchange. I think that there's...
Have people started muttering a duel? A duel?
Robert positions himself, just sort of makes his way over to join the conversation, to stand nearby.
Sir, I would suggest that there are certain people that some should avoid inviting to their parties.
I agree. I'm going to say I agree.
I'm referring to you, sir.
I'm referring to you, sir.
Well, sir.
I'm referring to you. I think, yes, the guest list should have gotten a second look, shouldn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I demand satisfaction from you, sir.
Oh, so you want me to get down on all fours like your mother?
He pulls a gun. He pulls a gun. He pulls a flintlock pistol.
All right. I'm going to stock up right now, and I'm going to roll an intimidate. Is that okay?
You may, but I want everybody's dexterity ratings first.
Okay, my dexterity is 55.
55.
And Walton?
50.
And he goes first, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. And he has a firearm, which makes him go first. And Walton has just told him to get on all fours like his mother. There is a look of madness in his eyes, Walton, a feverish, bloodshot look in his eyes as he lowers the flintlock toward you and fires. Walton. It's a hit. Let's see how he did damage-wise. 10 damage to Walton Weatherall.
Oh, my God.
As Kane Hardwood blasts him off his feet, people start screaming. How many HP does Walton Weatherall have?
12.
Walton, you need to now roll a...
Oh, no, 10. It's 10. I have 10.
It's 10? Then he is out.
It's 11. No, it's 11. It's an 11. I'm sorry, my brain. It's an 11, so I lost 10. So I have 1.
That's okay.
So I confirm he has 11 hit points.
Yeah.
Thank you, Secret
Who was
Keeper.
that?
That's Secret Keeper Clinton Trucks. People that watch the stream know who he is. Okay, so Walton, you must make a Constitution save right now. If you make it, not a save, but you must try to roll under your Constitution. If you make it, you will not go unconscious.
I don't make it.
Walton, you go unconscious. Your blood spreads out across the parquet tile, and you are close to death. And now I would like to go to Robert Potter.
Okay. I would like to put him in a headlock and choke him out.
Great. Give me a fighting roll. Lady Hypatia, you were going to roll and intimidate at this same dexterity order. Is that correct?
I mean, like I've
It's a little late.
Yeah, this shit has gone on. I'm not going to do that.
Okay, what would you like to do instead, Lady Hypatia?
I would like to point my fan at him and call him a knave and say that this is most ungentlemanly conduct, and demand that the gentleman at the party remove him from this place immediately.
That's what we're doing.
We're gonna see how what Farrell and Mob are made of.
Okay, very good. Let's see here. Okay, how did you do on your fighting roll, Robert?
Oh, I'm about to roll it. I'm just saying. I was just gonna say I have my cavalry saber, but I'm not using it. I'm trying to subdue him, non-violently, because this is still a fancy party.
That's right.
And I marvelously succeed. I got a 4 against 65.
Oh, you have this guy on the ground, arms behind him, in like a military, whatever the 19th century version of an Aikido arm lock is.
Yeah.
You have him in it. Farrell and Everett Mob arrive quickly thereafter, and they are they're offering to help you take him outside.
Yeah. Okay. I say, hold this man down right here. Don't take him outside. Hold this man down right here. And then I go tend to Walton Weatherall with first aid.
Okay, very good. Here's what happens. A group of people are now running to the aid of you, Robert Potter. There is a large gentleman who has taken off his shirt before he springs to action. A man in Marine, His Majesty's Marines uniform, and a statuesque French woman who seems to be not afraid of a fight. These people are all other members of the Neptune Society, in case you haven't figured that out yet. But that's just a little fan service. Meanwhile,
before anything goes further, I want to make very clear that the thing that offends me most here is not somebody shooting at one of my guests. It is the fact that if you are going to duel on at my townhome, you're going to do it with the 9th Baron's dueling pistols. Right. You should have taken proper cases. You should have given proper duel respect to Weatherall, but don't just fucking bring out any gun here. I'm sorry.
I had a gun in my room.
You know what?
I would have brought out the good dueling pistols. They are beautiful.
Lady.
60 years old. You may have been killed by the shot misfiring, but a fine piece of weaponry.
I truly can't tell you how much I appreciate that, Lady.
So you're unconscious, Walton Weatherall, and now it is our friend Robert Potter's turn to try to fix this situation. Go ahead, Robert Potter.
Okay, so let me just say, so the two other bachelors came over and I instructed them to hold him down, and then other people are running towards us as well.
Yeah, so they are just kind of helping to kind of hold the guy down.
Okay.
Yeah. They're yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna try to first aid Walton Weatherall. I'll get some high proof spirits and some clean napkins and try to do a little bit of improvised bandaging, and I'll snap my fingers at the remaining help to go get first aid equipment from the scullery or wherever.
The doctor's there. The doctor is there.
Yes, the doctor arrives very quickly. His name is John McCorkadall. And he is quite drunk. He's quite drunk and besotted with some sort of drugs, and he's like, he's Scottish. He's like, let me help.
Okay, I slap his hands away and I grab his doctor bag, and I say, I'll do that. I haven't had a single drink all night, nor have I had one in 15 years.
It's always a risk when employing the Scotch, though I must say there are certain feminine indiscretions that he is willing to deal with that not all physicians will, which is why we keep him employed. Not just for me, Mama, well into her 40s.
Yes, no, absolutely.
Oh my.
Yes, yes. And so, sir, I think it is time for this very important first aid roll.
Yeah. Here comes the first aid roll. It is a success of 40 against 70.
Very good. Walton Weatherall, you gain another HP. You are up to 2 now, I believe. And Robert Potter, were you trying to bring him around again, make him conscious again?
Yes, I'm trying to bring him around, and I'm trying to find the goal of my first aid would be to find a way to stop his bleeding, so he's not going to further bleed out, if that makes sense.
That sounds great. You are doing that. You're like kind of like you pull like a very expensive tablecloth off of one of the tables that you're serving hors d'oeuvres from, and you're like wrapping it around Walton Weatherall's center. And Lady Hypatia, that is when you see that all of the blood that is leaked from you would look directly at this. You are a biologist yourself, right? Yeah. You see the blood from Walton Weatherall's wound is weirdly like kind of like lurching toward the west wing. It's almost like someone has turned the house, like tilted it so that the blood is sort of moving in that direction on its own. Please make a sanity roll when you see this.
I do not make it.
Lady Hypatia, you lose, since it's so much blood and it's so obviously moving by supernatural means, you lose 3 sanity. As you realize that perhaps your father's curse is befalling you. Are you becoming mad like he did?
I'm going to follow the blood.
Very good. And what are Robert Potter and Lady Hypatia? We're going to send you off into the corridor following the trail of blood. And Walton Weatherall and Robert Potter, what are you doing?
Okay. So he's mostly stable now. Like
it's stable and he is awake. But it will take him time to recover that HP.
Okay.
In fact, Walton, just to be clear, I think you're at 2 HP, maybe for the rest of the adventure. So if you want Walton to survive, I would be careful with him.
Put me in a chair.
Is he able to sit up and be like at least? Yeah. So I get him stable. I get him seated, and then I go back over to Kane Hardwood, and I get the other people holding him to turn him around and flip him over and hold him up, and I slap him 3 or 4 times in the face, and I say, "What the hell are you playing at?"
Yeah, make a power roll, Robert Potter.
I fail.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
85 against 45.
Robert Potter, you are slapping at him, and the next thing you know, your cavalry saber is in your hand.
I look at it and I attempt to drop it.
You must make a fighting with your cavalry saber roll.
Fighting with my cavalry saber roll. Like I must. Like my cavalry saber skill. I must.
Yes,
roll.
sir. Yes.
Got it. I make it. I'm afraid I got a 16 against 65.
One of those times
good or
when
bad?
you wish that you had not, but I can tell you that you do attempt to drop it. You look up at your hand and you're trying to drop it. You're trying to drop it and it won't drop it. Oh my God, Crimea is happening again. The sword comes down on Kane Hardwood really hard, and you must now roll damage for your cavalry saber and then your sanity.
This is my first time doing this, so I'm sorry. I have to look it up here. My cavalry saber. Oh, that's 1d8 plus 1. I'm sorry. I got to pull out a d8 real quick.
I got one. Fighting. It's nice. We got some fighting in this one.
Yeah.
There's always fighting.
I maxed out.
I am a 12-year-old boy, and fighting is how I express myself in fantasy.
I got 9 damage against him.
Very good. And so you have made a palpable wound in this man's chest, and everybody around you is like, "What? Why did you do that?" They don't say dude. Well, maybe Slab Harrington does. Anyway, the point is, you must now make a sanity roll, Robert Potter.
I succeed.
Very good, Robert Potter. You lose 1 sanity from your action because Robert, that wasn't you. That wasn't you. Something was moving your arm. Okay. Another good thing is Kane is not dead. Kane is not dead. So what would you like to do with Kane?
I
If
say, take that man to the infirmary, not the infirmary, to the. There's a local medical thing, I would assume. Get him out of here.
Okay. They really, you're out on an English country estate. It will take hours to take you to an infirmary.
I mean, the drunk doctor is the infirmary.
Okay, yeah, okay. So get him, restrain this man, and have the doctor
walks up to you and is like,
operate on.
I'm better now. I can help. Don't worry, I've got it.
Great, do it.
I can cure this man. I'm sure of it. I know I can.
Yeah, do it. There's an empty guest bedroom over
there.
there.
I feel better. He takes them off. And now let's go to Lady Hypatia. Lady Hypatia, the blood is trickling into the library.
All right, I'm gonna follow it. Where do I keep my father's papers?
You keep them in the library.
All right, I would like to follow it to the library. I would also like to just be like, if we were going to use the doctor on somebody, maybe we should have used it on Weatherell. But I'm not paying attention to that. I am just going, and of course, my faithful lady's maid Celine is following me. That's pretty much it. I go into the library.
Yes, and your heart starts to beat so hard in your chest, Lady Hypatia, because you think that you might be experiencing some of your father's insanity, and now the blood is moving toward his books, and you can almost hear a heartbeat reverberating from out of the library as you approach it, and you come around the corner and look into the library, and you see that the blood is trickling up onto a table, and on that table someone has opened a large manuscript, and the blood is trickling into and onto the manuscript, and the manuscript has been opened by a small Dutchman who is standing there in the library. He's missing some fingers, but he's still able to turn the pages, and he says, "Oh, hello, my lady. I was just enjoying a good book." You must make a sanity roll for seeing this definitely dead man again. Porta!
I do not make it.
Now again,
Lady
how would he lose
Hypatia.
those two fingers? How would you lose this finger and this finger, but keep this finger? Like, what would you put your hand in a garbage disposal like this?
Lost, Lady Hypatia, only one. And it's a great question. It's a great question, Robert Potter, but unfortunately it might not be answered in this moment. I will go back to Potter and Potter and Walton Weatherall. What would you like to do now?
Well, I'd like to light up a cigar. Sit here for a second. I've spoken a cigar. Do I see the blood move?
Yes, you see it move. It was coming out of you. I think it's fair.
But now
I think it's fair.
I'm watching it trickle. Was I already out when Lady Hypatia ran out to go follow?
Right. You went out for a moment. Actually, Walton, I think that you're going to need to make some sort of roll. I think you need to give me some sort of I don't know, either spot hidden would work or medicine to see that something is weird here. You were unconscious.
Gosh, let me reroll. I make it. 25.
Walton, you see the last little bit of your blood kind of go around the corner.
What the fuck? But do I see them go? Like, it's Lady Hypatia. Like, have I seen them go? Do I know that they are, or was I just so far out of it?
You don't know, but you do. You did see it go around the corner into the corridor.
I'm gonna follow Lady Hypatia and follow the blood. Now that all this is taken care of.
I wave at the two Dutchmen, our mercenaries that we know.
Yeah, Van Dornen and Von Beck.
I'll tell them as I leave. Assist this man to Walton regarding Walton Weatherall.
Okay, they're kind of carrying you, and you guys are all headed toward the library. But
where were these Dutchmen, by the way, when Kane Hardwood attacked? I forgot about them.
They were quite useless, weren't they? Well, you get what you pay for, and you guys paid for These guys. All right. So look, I want Lady Hypatia to talk to Horta before you all arrive. You guys are behind her quite a bit. She's there with her housemaid Celine, her lady's maid Celine, and Lady Hypatia. What would you like to say to Horta as you see the blood trickle into this book?
I don't want to say anything to him. I want to tackle him.
Very well. Give me a fighting roll.
How much luck do I have?
You can spend 10 at any given time.
I'm going to spend 9 points of luck making this tackle work.
Lady Hypatia, he failed his dodge. You tackle him hard. You leap over the table and over the book with all of your dresses flowing behind you and smash him down into one of the bookcases. You are on top of him. You have control of the situation at the moment.
Okay, I would also like to make a point to Clinton, and that is that the boning in my corset should act as some form of armor points. Sorry, let's keep going.
Noted. Corset boning as armor.
Yes. Okay, great. Let's see. It is now Horta's turn, and he is not going to attack you, Lady Hypatia. He's going to lay under you. His horrible breath, the smell of decay coming from his skin and his mouth, and he's going to laugh and go, "It is too late. Blood has been spilled." And he's just kind of giggling beneath you. And so that is when I will allow Walton, Van Dorn, Von Beck, and Robert Potter to arrive in the library. Gentlemen, you see
just 5 people like crowded around the entrance.
Yeah, well, I assume that Robert Potter runs in and is there and capable of action, and Van Dorn and Von Beck are carefully carrying Walton into the library.
Oh.
And you see the tableau, which is Lady Hypatia on top of, oh my God, Horta. He's supposed to be dead. Give me sand rolls, Walton Weatherall and Robert Potter. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I barely fail.
That's too bad. Here comes the sanity loss.
I got it.
3 for you, Mr. Potter. And 0 for Walton Weatherall. Walton's seen weird shit, and he's not surprised that dead guys walking around or actually laying under.
Give me some of what he has, because I don't feel very good to begin with.
And that is when Everett Mobb walks into the library behind all of you and goes, "Lady Hypatia, are you engaged in improper conduct with this man?"
I'm going to say, Mob, you titleless cur. Why don't you go back to fucking your sheep and leave the titled classes to our affairs? You have no idea the gravity of this situation. Leave my home, sir. Good evening.
Make an intimidate roll, Lady Hypatia.
It's way harsh.
She really is not wanting a husband.
Ooh, you don't know. It was a 3 against 42.
And now make a power roll, Lady Hypatia.
I did not make it.
Well, the thing did, and so your anger and your ire when you say this to him, and then also you critted it, right, is so extreme that you don't even realize until you've gotten up there that you have reached up and you've left Horta, you've walked across the room, and you've sliced Everett across the face with your fingernails, and he is now bleeding. More blood falls and drops to the book. And
Can
then yes, you may. What would you like to do? Let's go back into a kind of a combat mode. So I'm going back to your order of moving, and that's
we're in a combat mode.
I'm going to go back into it, but you can do something before we start that.
Can I make a deduction about what's happening? Am I the player am realizing that we're in a Ghostbusters kind of, our anger is becoming multiplied by a nefarious power? Can Robert Potter have realized the same thing, or do I need to make some sort of roll?
No, I allow you to control your character, and if a player realizes something, the character certainly can, unless you don't want them
So
to.
I would like to say, everyone stop! Some malevolent force is causing our emotions to run wild. We must all stop. And I try to, like just quiet everyone down and simmer down the situation.
Oh, okay. That's going to require I'm going to
Could
say,
be intimidate, could be psychology.
I think it's going to be a hard persuade.
Oh, I'm never going to make that.
Well,
That's
hopefully
impossible.
someone else has the skill then.
I do. I do. I could try to do it.
I'll allow this before we go back into a fight. I'll allow you guys a moment to try to do that.
If I hear him saying, let me see if I make it. Let me see
Can
if I
I
can make
support?
it.
Can I support the persuade as well?
I'm afraid, Lady Hypatia, you have just escalated things, so you may
We're
not.
trying to persuade you.
All right, fair.
Yeah.
So there's a hard persuade.
I fail,
Yeah.
of course.
Let me see if I can do a hard persuade. No.
No one is interested. Everett Mobb goes he's a little slower than the rest of you. You can tell though that he is
thick.
extremely
He's
angry.
You
He's
better
thick,
be careful.
he's built,
He's
he's a
got-
bad man.
He doesn't look great, but he's very strong. He's physically very strong. I can tell.
He actually goes after Lady Hypatia and Potter, but before Walton. Walton, the Von Beck buddies are just going to go on your turn, and they're going to listen to your orders. You're the guy that originally hired them. So you actually have a way to get in this combat without losing further HP, maybe. Look, here's the deal. Lady Hypatia, this only lasts for a second, that the thing that came over you. So if you are now of your own cognizance, what would you like to do this turn now?
I would like to, and Mob is coming at me, right?
He seems extremely angry. You've sliced his face with your nails, and you can see like rage entering his eyes. He's starting to get a crazed look in his eye.
I would like to do a persuade to calm him down and apologize.
Very good. Give me a hard persuade roll, Lady Hypatia.
All right. Let's do this. I don't make it.
Lady Hypatia, you may push if you like, but you got to tell me how you're pushing.
Push.
All right. I fall to my knees and say, "A dark power has entered this home. Please do not further it by attacking me, a helpless lady."
Okay.
Oh God.
That really hurts Lady Hypatia's pride, but
all right, I'm gonna. Can I use luck on top of it?
On a pushed roll?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
The Everett
Oh God.
Everett spits at you.
Uh-huh.
And he's turning to Robert Potter, whose turn it is now.
Okay. What can I just ask again? The blood is going into the book.
Oh yeah, and you will have noticed that now. It's quite obvious.
Okay, so it's like, and just describe again what's happening, if you don't mind.
I'm going to describe that Lady Hypatia has fallen to her knees, tried to tell Everett to calm down after he thinks he caught her in some sort of position with Horta on the floor and sliced his face with her nails. He is turning to you now. He's not attacking her. He's turning to you. It's not his turn yet. But Potter, you saw a man spit on your lady.
Yes.
What are you going to do about that?
Well, I am realizing with a bit of meta awareness that anger only creates more anger, and that's something we should avoid in this situation. So, and by the way, having seen horrible violence in the military, I am starting to react more fearfully, right, and more protectively. So, since he is coming for me, he's not like attacking Lady Hypatia, right? He's coming towards me. I'm going to put it in like more combat focused RP. Is there a way I can like be dodging, like I'm trying to behave evasively, and then I also want to grab the book and shut it?
In any combat round, you can roll your dodge.
But there isn't the kind of thing where you're like doing all out evasion, like in.
I'll allow it. Here's what I want.
here's what I want.
I want to grab the book and close it while trying to keep my distance from him. That's what I want to do.
Oh, why don't you just run over and grab the book and close it?
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. That'll put you out of his reach for a moment, and it'll try to close the book. So you run over and you start to try to close the book, and you must make a POW roll.
Okay. I fail. I got a 95.
Okay, so here's what happens. You run over to the book, which is now like covered in blood, and you can see the illuminated pages of this manuscript, the gilt foil and stuff, and they depict like this great dragon rising up out of the ground. And as you look at it, the blood and the image, the old medieval image literally, pulsates, and the dragon's wings move, and its tongue like and you yes and yes
That's not what I expected it to look like.
Well, that is what it looks like. And so you're not able to close the book. You're not able to close it. And now it is Everett Mob's turn, and Everett Mob is going to go, you reject me, you love this low-born cur. And he he's going to walk over to you and is going to try to attack you again, Potter. But like you said, you kind of ran around the table and got to the book, so he can't do it this turn. The table is between you and him, and you're having like that really dignified that very dignified thing that men of honor do, where they kind of chase each other around a table.
I start throwing like desk ornaments and things at him, and like pens, and just like, you stay back.
Yes.
You stay back.
Exactly. And then it is Walton Weatherall's turn. Walton, you're just kind of hanging on these two large Dutchmen. What would you like to do?
So I see the blood is going into the book. He tried to close it. He can't close it. I have this guy. He's approaching them very, very quick. What is Yorta doing?
Horta is now like pulling himself off the floor and just like laughing.
I hate him. I hate him.
Yeah, he's awful.
All right. So we're sitting there because they are holding me up, right?
Yeah.
Like I can't stand independently, or I can have one. And can I send one?
You can stand independently. It's tough. Like I'm going to make like any physical rolls you do probably hard or extreme, but you could stand up now.
Okay. I would say they just like this whole conflict has to stop. We have to handle this book because meanwhile I'm looking at this thing. The blood is kind of pooling on top of it, right? As it's glowing. Can I make any sort of occult roll that can see what's going on if there's anything that I have known from my travels?
Yes, you may. Give me an occult roll.
I make it.
Okay, so you realize two things. When you were cataloging everything that came out of that farmhouse, there was an old chest, and in that old chest was this book. And Walton Weatherall was like, he remembered like kind of opening everything like, oh, old timey stuff, and shutting it.
Whatever this was garbage.
And then it came here to the house, so you do recognize it. Your occult lets you know that the book. Let me see if I can give you a really good hint. Because you did make it, right? You made your occult. Okay. If you can force whatever is like controlling you guys, it's having to use a little bit of power to like stoke your emotions. And so like you could maybe kind of trick it into using more power than it should, right? It's like stoking the passions of the people at the party. So maybe you could trick it into like using up its energy before it gets what it needs, right?
So if somebody
does very clear, sorry, I'm going to just say this. When it takes in blood, it gets more powerful, but every time it moves a knife or flicks something or makes one of you more angry, it has to use a little bit of power.
Okay. So I could say to one of my manservants, like, listen, I'm gonna slap you in the mouth. Like, listen, right? I'm gonna say this right now, and you're gonna freak out. You're gonna freak out. I have one on the other, and I say, like, we have to exhaust this thing. We have to try to see if we're like I can explain all of this. I see it's like, okay, listen to the two men I'm with. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, listen to our Okay, what happens is we have to figure out a way. We have to exhaust the negative energy inside of the book. All right, don't ask me how I know this is a thing. I don't know a lot. Certain things just get absorbed over time. Okay, I'm gonna need to slap the hell out of you. All right, and then the other one,
Just do it. I enjoy it.
you gotta grab him when he goes insane. All right, you have to grab him and pin him down because we got to see if we can get some energy out of this book.
This is quite a crazy story being told by a man who is gunshot and half delirious.
Yes.
And so Walton must make a social roll to get them to enact this drama that he is suggesting.
A social roll?
Yes, it would be a persuade or a fast talk.
Okay,
or
great.
A
Yeah,
charm, I would even.
Yeah, I have fast talk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I got major success. I got a 4 on a 65.
You slap one of the Dutchmen hard across the face. His face comes back up like, and that's when the other one leaps on him.
And they're like rolling around in another corner of the library. The entire library is in a pile-on wrestling match chase right now. Books are falling off the shelves. Lamps have been thrown. And now we come back to the top of the order. I can tell you now, Robert Potter, that Everett Mob is within striking distance of you, and he has pulled a pair of sheep shears. And he's like, so Lady Hypatia, it is your action first.
Okay. I would like to do two things if possible.
Sheep shears.
I would like to send Celine to get the largest soup tureen and its cover, fill it with milk, and bring it back. And then I would like to grab my father's book that has the chant in it.
Very good. Easily found. It's on the shelf beside the empty space where you had put the Revelations of the Dragon. And so Celine nods and goes, "Of course, madame, because a lady's maid that is any good at her job knows when she's told to go get a tureen full of milk, she doesn't ask why. She goes and she does it." She runs off to do that, and you pull your father's book from the shelf. And can you tell me what you're going to be doing?
I'm going to turn immediately. Like, the dragon's real. The dragon is coming. I need to start the chant.
Very good. Very good. You begin chanting. And now it is Robert Potter's turn. Robert, Everett Mob is within striking distance of you with his sheep shearing shears. What would you like to do?
I'd like to pull out my cavalry saber, but I'm not going to attack him. I'm just going to fence the shears. Clang, 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 clang.
Great.
Clang, clang, clang.
I'm going to give him a penalty die when he attacks you with these shears. Actually, you can make your fighting roll, and you're not trying to do damage. You're trying to fence, right? Make your fighting roll first.
I could try to disarm him, I suppose, or I could just be fencing. I'm not trying to attack him. It's just metal against metal.
Make your fighting roll first. If you get a hard success, you can disarm him.
Okay. I did, in fact. I got a 7. No, sir, I got a 1. I'm sorry, I got a 1.
You may check your fighting. That means you put a little check in the box beside it. It may get better next time. The shears go flying across the room, and that is when the thing uses more power to do something with them.
No!
Here's what happens. It just used its power to do this. The shears go flying across the room and are like floating in the air, and then they start floating toward Walton Weatherall. Now it is Everett Mob's turn. He is going to try to get the control of his senses now that you've disarmed him. He succeeds at doing that. He's suddenly coming back to himself, like he's not like attacking you like a psychopath anymore. And now it is Walton Weatherall's turn again, along with his Dutchmen who are busy now. Walton, you're on your own now, and these weird floating sheep shearing shears are like moving toward you. What would you like to do?
Get a haircut, man.
Yeah, I need to be honestly. I could use a haircut so they're coming at me. It's a slow float, right?
They were like flying through the air because Robert disarmed them, and suddenly they kind of and like started moving. Yeah, they're moving toward you slowly enough that you can act. You can act once, but they're going to. I want you to know that they're going to attack after you do your action. So this is an important action.
Do I have my cane with me?
You sure. Yeah, certainly you would.
How close am I to the door?
You are not far from the door, as you mentioned. They had just kind of carried you in.
It propped me up. What else is in there? Can I grab a big, thick book?
Absolutely, you can.
I'm gonna grab as I see it coming to me. Now, is it close within? Can I knock it out of the air?
Yeah, you could give it a shot. Do you?
But I'm deeply.
Go for Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. I already read it. It's right there.
I mean, he's an American. He's probably good at baseball. He can knock it out of the air.
Sir,
ball.
If you make a fighting roll right now with this book, how bad is your fighting, Walton? What is your fighting?
I'm at 25.
A 1 in 4 chance. But you are talking about using it to bash the thing out of the air. That feels
because
like
I was either that
you.
or I was just going to literally go up in the corner and just put it against my chest. Like, the idea is that I just need to have something in my hands if the thing's going to come at me.
You, because of your using the book as a weapon, it's very smart. I'm giving you a bonus die on your fighting roll right now. That means you can roll your fighting twice. And each time you can have a different tens die. Does that make sense? So whatever the 1 die rolls, that stays. But the tens die will be different each time.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Here we go. You have 25% and 2 chances to make it.
All right. Nope. Nah. Nope.
And you can't push during combat. Here come the shears.
Oh, no.
God damn it. Oh.
Well, they have to use a little bit of targeting as well. You're not standing there still. You're kind of swatting at them with, and so the shears rocket toward you, and I rolled an 89. They go, you kind of made them confused enough, and then it feels like whatever is controlling them kind of just loses its hold, and they fall to the floor. Okay, guys, we're back to Lady Hypatia. Lady Hypatia, it's time for your spell.
It's time for my spell.
It is time for you to cast a spell. Yes, okay. So first, just for casting a spell, just for intoning your father's weird, certainly like fevered writings and then like saying them for the first time out loud, you lose 1 sand for that. Boy, I need to pick another sand die. I'm trying to screw these people up. Come on. And then Lady Hypatia, suddenly you feel yourself in contact with something inside the book. You feel the presence of the great dragon inside of your head, and it's soul-crushing pessimism. The soul-crushing pessimism of this alien consciousness costs you even more sand as it is talking. Thank you, Clint. Thank you. Yes.
I feel it. I feel the pessimism.
You see this horrified visage inside of your head. You lose 3 more sanity. Yeah. Lady Hypatia, have you lost 5 or more sanity in this scene?
No.
You've lost 4, right?
I lost 4 in this scene, yeah.
Very close, but not quite enough to go temporarily insane yet. Lady Hypatia, you're in contact with this thing. What would you like to say to it?
I would like to say, We reject you. Go forth from this place. You have no home here. And I would also like to think about how good those chocolates were in Belgium. This dragon can kind of try to fill me with how bad and pessimistic the world is. But I need to remember that there are high quality Belgian chocolates out there, and the world's destruction is not a good thing.
Lady Hypatia, in that case, we can both make a power roll right now, and you are actually trying to exorcise or bind and like put this thing to sleep. Here we go. How did you do?
I did not make it. Can I push?
You may, and I want you to know that pushing may be dangerous. I may. This is a very rare case where pushing may cause me to ask for another sanity roll from you.
Guys, should I push?
I feel that
I would. This would be a time to push. I think
this
All
is
right.
a time to push.
this is the big roll. I think
Tell
this
me
is the
about your
big roll.
push tactic. What's she doing now?
All right. I made it. She is like, she's thinking about the chocolate. She's thinking about positivity.
She's importing a secret, Jared.
Oh, this is the end of Ghostbusters 2.
Let me tell you what happens. And good use of Ghostbusters 2, everybody. Guys, I want to tell the people at home, if you're ever in a really dire Cthulhu scenario, use your Ghostbusters 2 knowledge. Because what happens now is out of the book where all the blood was kind of pooling, suddenly pools of chocolate start to like spring out of the book. Chocolate starts to well up out of the book until it becomes like a chocolate fountain. And then suddenly chocolate is violently spraying arterial chocolate spray into the air. And I can tell you that you have made the thing use the last little bit of its power with your attack. You've drained 7 magic points from it. That's all that it had left. Those are now in your store, Lady Hypatia, as suddenly everything calms down and there is a ruined book on the table of your library covered in chocolate. And so
Robert Tayson. Oh yeah,
it's very good.
This is
And
very
you are
good.
now possessed by an evil demon. No, I'm kidding.
Very good.
You may now each narrate your epilogue for this story. I can tell you that due to your quick movements, your quick thinking, nobody died tonight. Nobody died. Now, if someone had died, this thing would have probably manifested. But you guys, as your keeper, I'm just letting you know, nice work on that. I'm just also trying to stall for a little bit so you can think of how you would like your story to end for now. But the guests eventually kind of reconvene in the grand hall over the sleeping unconscious forms of Kane Hardwood. And everybody looks to Lady Hypatia, Robert, and Walton as they re-enter the grand hall covered in blood and chocolate. Oh, Horta. What are you going to do with Horta? That's a good question.
What
There
is
he
he?
is.
What is he like now? Now that the spell has been like now that this thing's going, like, is he still? Because I know he was a zombie. So
Yes.
Is he still a zombie?
Here's what he's like now. Here is what he's like now. You see, you look back, you go, oh yeah, Horta, we've got to deal with Horta. And he's just like eating the chocolate. And then all of a sudden he stops and he goes, no, great dragon, no, I haven't failed you. There's still time. And then you just see one of his fingers that's still on one of his hands just go clomp and hit the ground.
Another finger falls off.
Okay, now I would like your epilogues. Let us start with Walton Weatherall. Walton?
I just want to say it was a close call, close brush with death, which shocked me. I have not been this close. The last time I was shot was 10 years ago, and it was only in my lower leg. So this was a big old shock. It's been a long time since I've been shot. So I sat and really thought about my priorities and how many years I've spent solo traveling the world and finding exotic finds in order to entertain and educate all sorts of audiences, all types of audiences across the Americas, and international. That I met, hopefully, a young milk girl here on the estate of Lady Hypatia that I have absconded with me to America.
Actually, Walton, you haven't met a young milk girl, but I don't even know what a young milk girl is. I know Walton does.
People with big jugs of milk.
Oh,
There's not a
okay.
lot of, there was a language barrier, but she was happy to be on the
Lady
boat.
Bartlett actually approaches you at one point after the party, and she tells you that she's always dreamt of retiring to the United States and seeing all it has to offer. New lands to explore and whatnot.
I can show you at least 2 new lands.
Whoa.
America. And hopefully what I was hoping is that Lady Hypatia would allow me at some point to take the chocolate-covered book and put it in my main oddities museum to say the sweetest apocalypse of all. As a new, it's a limited engagement display.
Lady Hypatia?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. And so it sits there in Walton Weatherall's Museum of Oddities in Schenectady, New York. A book covered in chocolate with a plaque beside it that claims that the chocolate came from the devil. And now, Robert Potter, would you please narrate your epilogue to the story?
Okay, Robert, very shaken, pulls himself together, stiff upper lip. He says, "Thank you, everyone, for coming. The event is concluded." Ushers everybody out and directs the servants to start cleaning up, and takes Horta down to the cellar and locks him up, detains him. And then Robert is shaken by this and retreats from society even more than he already has, and mostly spends his time tending to the affairs of the estate and making sure Lady Hypatia is all right. And occasionally, late at night, he looks lovingly at a small photograph of her. Not a photograph, a small portrait of her that he has in his small room.
And he is now running a private prison with a crazy Dutchman in it. I think
just for the moment until we can figure out what's to be done with him.
Oh, okay. I was hoping that you were just like keeping him down there like a weird prisoner. But either way,
I think on how long. I don't know what there is to do with him. So
I think that you are made. I think that I'm going to say. I know Lady Hypatia has some say in this, and she can disagree with me if she wants. I think you're made major domo here. I think you're made bailiff of the whole grounds, and you now manage the estate. And so perhaps one day we will return to Montague House for further Downton Abbey style adventures that also involve some sort of being from beyond space and time.
Sounds great.
But
so
finally,
we're just down there in permanent prison in that case.
Oh, perfect. Oh, or maybe you've put him in Bedlam in London.
Oh, sure. Yes, we have him committed to Bedlam, and we say this man was dead, but he's back, and we don't know what the hell's going on.
And then there's a short period where they commit you for saying that, but Lady Hypatia gets you out, and then Horta is trapped in Bedlam. And let's just have me do that voice one more time. He's like, I hear you, great dragon. I hear you. I will get out, and I will make them all pay. And finally, Lady Hypatia. Lady Hypatia, the most important question of the night is, of course, the question of your matrimony, my dear.
I mean, the thing is going into it, I was like, these guys are all like, this is a waste of a generation, but what can they contribute to the children that I have? I thought maybe Farrell being talky, we could raise children who were politicians. But after the shit went down with the book, I fucking went hard for Mob. I was like, his stability, what this family needs is genes that are different from the ones that we already have, stability and some physical strength. And so even though I had clawed up his face, possibly because of it, I ended up marrying Mob and letting him tend to his sheep while I sort of make a name for myself in town. And it also laid a groundwork for some marital play that was a little non-traditional at the time to do with your wife, but not unknown in the back alleys of London.
Okay, a couple things. Mob is fantastic in bed.
Mhm.
That's the only time he's fantastic. The rest of the time, he's a real snooze. Okay.
Thick and ropey.
Yep, thick and ropey, but man, he's good in bed. He's very into what you're bringing.
Thick and ropey are compliments in some aspects of people's physicality.
Right, absolutely.
I think if someone said I was thick and ropey, I'd like that.
Yes.
I would feel flattered. Are there children yet? And that can wait till the next time we have you in the Neptune Society.
I would say he is, if nothing else, fertile.
Yes.
Oh, some thick and ropey bibbies.
And we get a couple out by the time I hit 25.
Very good. They are strong boys. Strong, thick, ropey boys.
Love to hear it.
Any glimmer of intellect in them?
That will have to be part of their education, part of their nurture, not their nature.
I'll also fuck Farrell on the side a little bit to maybe get a talking one.
Farrell is gay. Finally, I will say that Potter, you had to give Hypatia away at her wedding. And I guess
sanity?
I think I would like for you to roll sanity, please.
Okay. All right. It's so traumatic for me. I've kept my love for her so deep within me and nurtured it. And I do succeed.
Very good. You only lose 1d6. That's 5. That's temporary insanity. During the ceremony, you break down in tears. But people assume it's something to do with Crimea. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's volume of the Neptune Society, the Battle of Neptune. I want to thank Henry Zebrowski, Guy Branum, and Adam Conover for joining me for this very special Gen Con edition of the show. We are here every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific. Guys, thanks again. That was amazing.
Thank you. I had a great time. Thank you,
the best role players in the world. Thank you. Please follow these gentlemen on all social platforms and buy their books and various shows and things that they do. Send money to them so that they can keep making all the great creative things they make. I'm going to say goodbye for now. Gentlemen, thank you again so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That is it for this edition of the Neptune Society. Frankly, one of the favorite ones we've done, in my opinion. I'm going to hang out for a minute if anybody has questions or comments, but in the meantime, I have to do my little promotions in my socials. So please follow us on twitch.tv/stream of blood, and you can keep up with our schedule and find out about all the cool things that we have planned by following us on social media. We do add extra games sometimes. Right now, we are occasionally doing a crossover with the Glass Cannon network, where we play Blades in the Dark, a really cool game from the Powered by the Apocalypse system. You can find us, our socials, at Instagram and Twitter _stream of blood _ or our Instagram and Twitter accounts. We're on Reddit at r/stream of blood. And please join our Facebook group to chat with me about horror and tabletop role-playing games and horror role-playing games. I would love for you to get on there and talk to me. We do take suggestions. So if you have an idea for a monster or a scenario for the Neptune Society, I would really, truly love to hear it. Guys, we have a game this week. It's a new series that we're playing. It's really, really exciting. My wife, Kara Klink, and 2 other hilarious female comedians, Megan Gailey and Lisa Traeger, are going to play Call of Cthulhu with me. This one will be set in the 1920s, and they have entitled it, their title, not mine, Coven of Bitches. That's going to be Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And I got to tell you, I don't think Twitch is going to let us write the title Coven of Bitches on Twitch. So please follow those socials so that you know what to look for. It might be Coven of Bees, actually, when you go to Twitch. But the Neptune game is the next Neptune game is next Sunday at 2 p.m. and we have a fantastic series planned there with our friend Humphrey Carr. He's going to bring back his character Dr. John McCorkadal, who had a cameo today. Our title card illustration is by Will Pottorff. You can see more of his work at willpottorff.com. That's Pottorff. And we have in-game artwork. That amazing little drawing of Horda is by our friend and player Ross Bryant. You can see more of his stuff on Instagram at RossBB. Our theme music is by Warbird, and I want to say special thanks to our people who do logo, graphic design, and promotion: Megan Arch, Sophia Otero, Sarah Carr, Garrett Ross. Thank you guys so much. We do not have a stream without those people helping us out. Okay, I'm hanging out for a moment. If there are any questions, sometimes there aren't. It's up to you. Okay. Thick ropey boys need their own adventure. Oh, the thick ropey children of Lady Hypatia. Oh, I think that's definitely happening. We have to find some players who want to play a strapping pair of farm dwelling brothers. It sounds like we're starting our own Dunwich. But either way, I would be super into that. So the fingers dropping off. It was to keep the dragon alive, or did I misunderstand? This adventure was based on a story called The Return of the Loigor. And I sort of used the Loigor creature from the Call of Cthulhu rulebook, and I read that story. Now, in that story, the Loigor doesn't try to control people's emotions, but it is telepathic. And so I thought, these parties are so fraught with tension and sexual tension and anger and rivalry, that wouldn't that be a great place for a telepathic entity to sort of stoke the passions of the people there? And that was sort of the inspiration. So if you want to find out more about the kind of things the Loigor does, look in the Call of Cthulhu rulebook or look them up online. Loigor, Loigor. The great dragon was a Loigor. Okay. Coven of Twitches, Clancy, you just solved it. Coven of Britches, also good. Coven of Liches, yes, except that they are not undead necromancers who've put their souls into phylacteries. But, what day for the Coven series? That will be on Tuesdays, and it won't be every week because these comedians have lots of other streams and things they do, shows they do. So, but I think we're shooting for every 2 weeks at first. By the way, an important part of Coven of Bitches is that these comedians don't play tabletop role-playing games. For two of them, it will be their second time playing. For my wife, it will be the third or fourth time. But I ran them through one scenario just to kind of make sure they wanted to do it. They had fun. And guys, I got to tell you, if you're a regular role player, people that have never role played before, if they have a good rapport with each other and they communicate well, they sometimes do way better than regular role players because they don't have a lot of preconceptions about what is expected of them. And so these ladies destroyed the scenario I put them in. They figured it out really quickly. They kept communicating to each other. You do that, then I'll do this. And they just did such an awesome job. So I can't wait for you guys to see these role-playing novices just kick its ass. Was Horda a Teutonic Knight 5-speed hybrid? You know that he was. Someone's been paying attention. Perhaps you have watched the earlier sessions, the Gen Con session we did with the attendees. Horda was a Teutonic Knight. Does he not seem like he had the personality of a Teutonic Knight? Well, maybe he was like a squire or something. But yes, he was a Teutonic Knight. Were the three dragon worshippers its only servants? Oh, well, Miss Mick, I think you're asking if the Brotherhood of the Dragon is still out there somewhere. If there's maybe a larger band of people that worship these underground telepathic Loigor entities. And I can tell you that there absolutely is, and that I intend to bring back villains that I establish whenever I can. And since this game takes place over a number of years, you may see the Brotherhood of the Dragon, in the late Victorian era, or you may see them in the early 20th century as we go forward. This game hops 2 or 3 years ahead every time we play with a new set of players. So I think the Brotherhood of the Dragon will be coming back, and we'll be seeing more of them. I really love that creature. Oh, thank you for asking, 5 Speed. I had such an excellent Gen Con. I really loved the games we did with the players. I loved our Vampires of Pittsburgh game that we did last night. I thought it was one of our best. And I just loved kind of opening up my little stream to new people. And I want to thank you guys for watching. I mean, it's been great. Wait, oh God, yes. You're talking about the evil professor, the Swedenborg of crime. Yeah, Constantine Kane. Well, what I can tell you about him is that we never actually saw him get executed, did we? So I think I'll be bringing him back as well, if I can. And, you know, I would love it if our players developed arch enemies. That would be really fun for me. The Neptune Society was sort of formed when they combated that dragon cult. That's when they kind of were formed. So yeah. I mean, they've got a file on the Order of Dagon in the Neptune Society, but they probably have a file on this dragon cult, on the Brotherhood of the Dragon. And, you know, I think that they have all kinds of files over there in the Neptune Society. I think that they are keeping track of a lot of weird things. And maybe soon we'll kind of step into the actual offices of the Neptune Society again and look around a little bit more at what they have there. Hit me up on the Facebook group. Let me know what you'd like to see. Let me know what your theory is. Like, don't just ask me. Tell me what it should be. Because I would be happy to take some. I think our next Neptune Society arc is actually going to be partially a suggestion from somebody who suggested an idea on the Facebook group. All right. I think that's all of our questions. So I just want to say again, thank you so much. And until next time, Shab Nugrath, Cthulhu Fatagan. Bye-bye.